Today we will start from another mineral, that is chlorine. This is also major element or say macro element. Now if we see the functional importance of chlorine, it is always associated with sodium. So it is present as sodium chloride in the body. So apart from associated with sodium, it is also present with potassium. So chlorine is associated, we can say, with sodium and potassium in maintaining acid-base balance in the body fluid as well as maintaining osmotic regulation. So this is one important function of chlorine. So chlorine always functions in association with sodium and potassium, remember. Then chlorine plays an important role in the gastric secretion. So we all know the monogastric animal as well as the ruminants in the abomasum, there are glands which used to secrete hydrochloric acid, and that's why the pH of the gastric juice is acidic due to presence of this hydrochloric acid. So chlorine has a role to play in digestion too. Now, how it is excreted from the body? The chlorine is excreted from the body in the urine. Okay? And apart from getting excreted in urine, it also gets excreted along with sodium and potassium during perspiration. So during, say, sweating, the chlorine also get lost from the body along with sodium. So these are some functional importance of chlorine. Now, deficiency, if the animal or bird is getting less chlorine in the diet, which we can say dietary deficiency of chlorine, may lead to an abnormal increase of the alkali reserve of the blood, and that is known as alkalosis. When alkali reserve in the blood increases due to lower level of chlorine is known as alkalosis of blood, and this is caused by an excess of bicarbonate ion in the blood, because an inadequate level of chlorine in the body is partly compensated by the increase in bicarbonate ion in the blood. So that increase in bicarbonate ion leads to alkalosis, means blood become little bit alkaline. So that you remember. Then where from the livestock or bird will get this chlorine? So from animal source or animal protein source, fish meal and meat meals are good source. In swine diet as well as in poultry diet, sometimes this fish meal is incorporated. But nowadays, fish meal no more in use because the fish meal that is available in the market is adulterated with urea. But earlier, fish meal was used as compulsory ingredient in the poultry as well as swine diet. So this fish meal and meat meals are good source of chlorine. Now vegetables happens to be the lower source of, or vegetables contain very low level of chlorine. That's why while we prepare the diet for especially ruminants, we always consider sodium chloride in the diet. So the main source of chlorine for most livestock and poultry therefore is common salt. Now, since plants tend to be low in sodium as well as chlorine, that's why it is an usual practice while we preparing the diet for ruminant animal to add common salt, so that the animal will not suffer from deficiency of chlorine as well as sodium. Then in the breeding hen as well as laying bird, there is one vice that is known as feeder picking as well as cannibalism. Cannibalism means eating of its own, or to say newborn bird or animal. That is cannibalism. They used to bite. So this feeder picking and cannibalism can be prevented by addition of salt in the diet of hen. Now in pigs, as I said, salt is generally given to pigs on vegetable diets, but if fish meal is given, then there is no need to give additional salt, or we can give the amount in a reduced amount. So by this way, chlorine requirement can be met up in the diet of animal as well as bird. Then suppose we are giving salt in the diet as well as there is fish meal in the diet of poultry especially. And as I said, fish meal generally is adulterated with urea as well as salt. Now, if the fish meal that we are giving to the bird, it is already adulterated with salt, and additionally you are giving, say, salt in the diet that you have prepared. In that case, there will be excess consumption of chlorine or say sodium chloride by the bird, and that may lead to some toxic symptoms. So that is excessive intake of salt. So we should know how to overcome if there is excessive intake of salt by the animal as well as bird. Now, too much of salt in the diet is harmful. And if too much of salt is consumed by the bird or the animal, what will be the symptom? So it will cause excessive thirst. So birds as well as animal will try to drink more and more amount of water. Then there will be muscular weakness and edema. If sufficient amount of pure drinking water is not available to the bird as well as animal which is consuming excess amount of sodium chloride, in that case, later on there will be edema. The salt poisoning is quite common in pigs as well as poultry, especially where fresh drinking water is limited. So if fresh drinking water is not available round the clock or it is limited, in that case, the diet containing high amount of sodium chloride along with fish meal, the animals may show symptoms of sodium chloride toxicity. Now in poultry, when this toxic symptom of sodium chloride may appear, so when the concentration of salt, that is sodium chloride, in the diet of laying birds, that is hens, exceeds 40 gram per kg dry matter of feed, means in 1 kg dry matter of the feed, if the sodium chloride level is exceeding 40 gram, and at the same time if supply of drinking water is limited, then even death may occur in the bird. However, hens can tolerate larger amounts of salt if plenty of water is available. So availability of water is important. If availability of water is limited, at the same time the birds are taking more sodium chloride, then there will be toxic symptom. Otherwise, they can tolerate a higher level of sodium chloride level. That is for adult bird. But in case of young one, that chicks, the chicks cannot tolerate sodium chloride toxicity as well as adults. Means it is not like that of adult in terms of tolerating the salt poisoning or salt toxicity. And 20 gram of sodium chloride per kg dry matter in the diet should be regarded as the absolute maximum for chicks. So for chicks, it is very important how to control this sodium chloride level in the diet. Then, compared to chicken, turkeys and ducks are even less tolerant. So if you see the tolerant level among the bird, chicken, turkey and ducks, these turkey and ducks are less tolerant. And 10 gram of sodium chloride per kg dry matter in the diet should not be exceeded in case of turkeys and ducks. So this you remember. Then acid-base balance, which is also known as electrolyte balance. Now, what does electrolyte balance mean? Electrolyte balance means balance between anions and cations at cellular level. So what is anion, what is cation, that is cations, it is known to you. So the balance between these anions and cations, exterior to the cell and interior to the cell, is electrolyte balance. No current. Now, failure to maintain the correct electrolyte balance within the cell means that metabolic pathways are unable to function efficiently and resources are diverted to achieving homeostasis at the expense of growth. This sentence you please go through. Means if due to some reasons there is failure in maintaining electrolyte balance at cellular level, then some other resources, means some other anions and cations will be diverted for achieving this homeostasis, means maintenance of electrolyte balance in the exterior as well as internal, or to say interior of cells. And this diversion of resources will be at the cost of growth, means growth will be retarded. Then alteration in the electrolyte balance influence metabolism of energy, metabolism of amino acids, then metabolism of vitamin D as well as calcium. So in this way, this electrolyte imbalance will affect the efficiency of growth in all species, means including human being, and has been shown to have a role in egg cell formation as well as in the occurrence of milk fever. This last point also you please read properly. May I go to next slide?
Yes, sir.
Now, what can cause this imbalance in electrolyte? So, certain pathological conditions may cause this electrolyte imbalance or disturbances in electrolyte balance. And those pathological conditions are vomiting, especially in human being. So during vomiting, there is loss of chloride. Then diarrhea. So during diarrhea, there is loss of bicarbonate. And excessive amino acid oxidation, that is excess acid production. So this excessive amino acid oxidation may be due to some metabolic imbalance. So these are some pathological conditions which may lead to the disturbance in electrolyte balance, resulting in diversion of some body resources to maintain the homeostasis in the expense of growth as well as other products. Okay, next, I am going to start with minor or trace element. So some of the major elements I have not discussed, that sodium, then some other magnesium. So that I am going to give you the class note. From there you will read it. all the minerals I'm not going to discuss because it's a very vast or long chapter. So now let us start the minor or trace elements, and among the minor or trace elements, iron is one important trace element for livestock as well as poultry. Now in the body, whatever iron is present of an organism, say animal or human being, of the total iron, so more than 90% is combined with proteins. Means it is in combination with protein. The 10% is available in some other form. And among this 90% of the body iron that is present with proteins, the most important is hemoglobin. So here, hemoglobin means heme plus globin. Globin is the protein. So it is combination of heme plus globin. That's why hemoglobin. And in the heme part, there is presence of iron. And this hemoglobin, which is a metalloprotein, it contains about 0.34% iron. Means in 100 gram hemoglobin, there is 0.34 gram iron. And in 1 kg hemoglobin, it is 3.4 gram. Then, if we see the presence of iron in the body as well as in the blood, it is component of some other proteins. So, iron occurs in blood serum in a protein called transferrin. Means, apart from hemoglobin, it is also a component of one protein, that is transferrin. Ferrin means there is presence of ferrous ion. Now, this transferrin, which is present in serum of blood, this transferrin is concerned with the transport of iron ion from one part of the body to another. Means transferrin is a protein containing iron which is involved in the transport of iron from one part of the body to another part. That's why it is trans, means transferred, transferrin. So remember, other than hemoglobin, you have got another protein, transferrin. Then another protein, ferritin. This is also a protein. It contains up to 20% iron. Means 20 gram in 100 gram of ferritin. And this ferritin is present in the spleen, liver, kidney, bone marrow. So these are the organs where this ferritin we can find. And this ferritin provides a form of storage for iron. Sometimes we ask the students, among the following, say, proteins, which provides as a form of storage of iron, is ferritin? Your answer should be ferritin. Then apart from ferritin, hemosiderin is also one protein. This is also a storage compound for iron. Okay? And this hemosiderin may contain up to 350 gram iron per kg of hemosiderin. Or we can say 35%, means 35 gram iron in 100 gram hemosiderin. So from this, we have come to know that most of the iron present in the body are present in combination with protein, and those are hemoglobin, transferrin, ferritin, and hemosiderin. And all these are having different role to perform in the body. So transferrin is involved in the transfer of iron from one part of the body to another part. Ferritin and hemosiderin, these are storage form of iron. Hemoglobin, you know, it used to carry the oxygen. Now let us see the role of iron in the body. this iron has a role in a host or vast of biochemical reactions. Mean in many of the biochemical reactions, this iron has a role to perform. And out of this, particularly in connection with the enzymes of the electron transport chain, that is cytochromes, where electron is transported. Then among the enzymes which contain or is activated by iron are catalase, peroxidases, phenylalanine hydroxylase, and many other enzymes. Those are included or required in TCA cyclic enzymes also contain this iron. So iron is a very important mineral for very important enzyme systems like catalase, peroxidases, phenylalanine hydroxylases, and many of the enzymes which are involved in tricarboxylic acid cycle. May I go to next slide?
Yes, sir.
Now, deficiency symptoms. So, if the diet of the livestock or poultry is having less iron, in that case, what deficiency symptoms will be exhibited by the animal? The first clinical symptoms or signs will be anemia. Anemia means loss of blood or hemoglobin. So anemia is the main result of deficiency of iron in livestock, poultry, as well as human being. So wherever there is deficiency of iron, it is reflected in anemia. Now, since more, not most, this is more, this is not more, R should be as, since most, not more, it should be more. Since more than half of the iron present in the body occurs as hemoglobin, a dietary deficiency of iron would affect the formation of hemoglobin. First, so deficiency of iron will first affect the formation of hemoglobin because 50% or more than 50% of body protein, body iron is present in hemoglobin. So first affection will be retardation or less formation of hemoglobin. Now, this RBC, that is red blood corpuscle, this contain hemoglobin. And these RBCs are continuously produced in the bone marrow to replace those red blood corpuscles destroyed in the animal body as a result of catabolism. Now, although the hemoglobin molecule is destroyed in the catabolism of RBCs, অলপ ৱেইট কৰা আহিব দে 12:30 ড্ৰপ হয় না sorry, in between there was what to say, one phone call I had to attend. The red blood corpuscle, that is RBC, these contain hemoglobin, and these RBCs are continuously produced as well as catalyzed. That is the normal physiological process. Now, during catabolism of RBCs, the hemoglobin also get destroyed. And when hemoglobin gets destroyed, the iron is liberated. But the thing is that whatever iron will be liberated due to catabolism of RBCs, the most of the iron is again used in the resynthesis of hemoglobin. It is not excreted from the body, means not goes out of the body. Therefore, the daily requirement of iron by a healthy adult animal is usually less. This sentence, this point you please go through. Sometimes we used to ask the students, say due to continuous catabolism of WBCs, why there is not high requirement of iron by the adult healthy animal. So then you should be able to answer. Have you understood why daily requirement of iron by a healthy animal is less?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the answer will be like this. Say RBC contain hemoglobin and hemoglobin contain the iron. And of the bodies, more than 50% of iron is present in the hemoglobin. And these RBCs, that red blood corpuscles, are continuously producing as well as destroying in the body. Produced in the bone marrow and destroyed in the body during metabolism, because probably you have got in physiology that RBC has a lifespan, isn't it? Around 100 and 120 days. So after some time, a RBC is bound to get destroyed. Now, when there is destruction or catabolism of RBCs, there is destruction or say destroying of the hemoglobin also, because RBC contain hemoglobin. So during that process, after destruction of hemoglobin, iron is liberated, means it get exposed and it comes to the circulation. But most of this iron is again reutilized for the resynthesis of hemoglobin. That's why daily requirement of iron by a adult healthy animal is usually less. Now, in what condition the requirement of iron may be increased in the living organism? That you should know. The need for iron increases in prolonged hemorrhage. Hemorrhage means loss of blood. Suppose there is one cut injury in the animal or the human being, then there is loss of blood. So that prolonged hemorrhage may make that organism to get more and more iron, because there is loss of iron during bleeding. That is one condition. Then during pregnancy also the requirement of iron is increased. During pregnancy, why requirement of iron increases? Because young growing fetus need iron. That's why during pregnancy, either the mother or them, in case of animal, should get high level of iron in their diet. Otherwise, the animal or the person, means the woman, will be anemic. Now, in such conditions, means during prolonged hemorrhage or during pregnancy, hemoglobin synthesis may be affected and anemia will result if there is dietary deficiency of iron. So those who have your elder, say sister, or say your aunties, so during their pregnancy, probably you have seen the doctors used to prescribe folic acid and iron. This is the first, medicine that doctor administer. So this folic acid is required for the iron metabolism and iron is required for hemoglobin synthesis. Simple. Then in pigs, especially in the young piglet, we get one anemia due to deficiency of iron, that is known as piglet anemia. And this piglet anemia is important from exam point of view for you. This you properly listen as well as read while I show you this slide. Now, in piglets, especially the suckling, means when the piglets are very young, it sucks its mother. So they generally may suffer from piglets if it is not tried to prevent by some other measure. And this deficiency that may occur in very young piglets during suckling is known as piglet anemia, and it is due to deficiency of iron. Now I am going to next slide. May I go to next slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, which piglets will affect from this anemia due to deficiency of iron? So anemia due to iron deficiency occurs most commonly in rapidly growing piglets, means healthy piglets will suffer first because the iron content of sow's milk is usually low. One condition. And the second condition, the piglets are born with low body reserve of iron. So due to these two conditions, the rapidly growing piglets in their earlier life, means within 1 to 2 weeks of their age, may suffer from anemia. First reasons, these are suckling piglets, but the thing is that the milk that the sow is giving to its piglets is low in iron content, means sufficient iron the suckling piglets will not get. Second point, the piglets at their birth, the reserve of iron is very limited. It will last only for 4 to 5 days. After that, the all body reserves of iron will get utilized, means it will be very less. So after 4th day, if it is not treated, most of the animal will show anemia. Okay. Then in what piglets, means according to the rearing, which piglets will be more prone to piglet anemia? So piglet anemia commonly occurs in those piglets housed in pens. Pens means in an organized form, the pen will be made up of cement concrete. Okay. So if that pen is made of brick and concrete, then there will be no access to the soil for the piglets. And soil happens to rich in iron. Now in extensive system, means those farmers who used to lay their piglets to go outside, those piglets happen to access, means they are having accessibility to soil. So they can lick the soil, sew the soil, so they get iron. But if the piglets are housed in pens, mean intensive rearing, there the piglet will be more prone to anemia because they won't have access to soil. Okay. Now the affected piglets, what kind of symptoms they will show? Anemia in piglets is characterized by poor appetite, means the animal will show loss of appetite. They won't drink from its mother. It will prefer to lie down somewhere in the corner of the pen, like that. And growth will be affected. Then in affected piglets, breathing becomes labored and spasmodic. So this is evident because obvious, when there is anemia means the animal is not going to get sufficient oxygen. For that, the animal will try to breathe forcefully. That is, breathing will be labored and spasmodic. Spasmodic is one term. Now, one question we used to ask, why anemia is common in piglet, housed in pens, and what can be the remedy of piglet anemia? That question you may expect in your exam. Now, the answer you have to write accordingly that I have given in point-wise. The piglets are born with very limited iron reserves in their body first, and sow's milk can provide only about 1 milligram iron per day. Means one piglet hardly will get 1 milligram iron per day, but their daily requirement is more than 15 milligram. So the rapidly growing piglets require 15 milligram iron per day. While sow's milk can provide only 1 milligram in one day, but the rapidly growing piglets require at least 15 milligram per day. Okay, means the animal will not get the required iron. But in extensive system of rearing, as I said in the beginning of this piglet anemia, in extensive system, piglets are let loose. They have access to soil. So the piglets can get the required iron, that is around 15 milligram iron per day, by ingestion of soil, because soil is rich in iron. But this is not the condition in case of intensive rearing. But in intensive system of rearing, the piglets do not have access to soil, as the floor is cement concrete, and therefore can not get the required iron from soil, resulting anemia. Now is it clear to you why in intensive system of rearing the rapidly growing piglets suffer from piglet anemia? Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I am going to the next part of this iron. Today I'll stop with iron only. I'm not going to start new mineral. Now, how to prevent this occurrence of piglet anemia? Now, to prevent this occurrence of piglet anemia, in organized form, this iron injection is given in 2 doses. And that iron injection is given intramuscularly, not intravenously. Remember, IM, intramuscular, in the muscle of the gluteal region. And the iron is given as dextran complex or glaptoferron. That is the, chemical term of the iron for administering to the animal, either as dextran complex or glaptoferron, and it is given first dose on the 3rd or 4th days of age, means after birth, and the second dose is repeated on 14 days of age, means in the 2nd week. Remember, when first dose is given on 3rd or 4th day and second dose on 14 days. So 2 doses are given. And in each dose, usually 200 milligram of iron is injected intramuscularly in each of the dose. Means in the first dose also 200 milligram, in the second dose also 200 milligram. So by this way, you can prevent the occurrence of piglet anemia. And this practice is practiced in our LPM farm also. Whenever there is farrowing, in the 4th day, all the piglets are given iron dextran injection and it is repeated on 14 days. Now, will you be able to answer in this way? If given the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let us see sources of iron for other animal. So, iron is widely distributed in food, and good sources of this iron are green leafy vegetables. Means for us, we should consume more and more green leafy vegetables for iron. Then, among the plants, most leguminous plants are rich in iron, like cowpea, lucerne, barsim. These are leguminous plants, so these are rich in iron. Then seed coats, the outer covering of seed, also rich in iron. In animal origin, means feed from animal origin, like meat meal, blood meal, fish meal are excellent sources of iron. So if we consider addition of fish meal or meat meal in preparing the diet for pig or poultry, for adult animal or adult bird, then iron requirement will be maintained. Then the last point I have highlighted, milk is a poor source of iron. Sometimes we used to ask the students, right, true, false. Milk is a rich source of iron. It is false. Milk is a poor source of iron in case of all mammals. Mean in human being also, milk is a poor source. That's why the newborn baby is also asked to administer the iron syrup, and that too given, say, 2 months, then 1 month's gap, like that. After 1 month, again for 2 months, up to 4 to 5 years of age. Because milk is a poor source of iron for human being also. So with this, I would like to wind up for today.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank
If
you,
any
sir.
query you are having, you are free to ask. Any